Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in the morning on the all new radioonfire.com. Here on the program, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across the country, emanating from our studios in Atlanta and Baltimore. The show is fun, the show is upbeat, but I also want to expose what is really happening in America. New episodes of the program drop weekdays, 8 a.m., but I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcast. In addition to our 8 a.m. program, we drop content throughout the day as news happens, just like we're doing right now. So hit that notification bell so you get an alert whenever we go live. So we've been talking about the murder of Daunte Wright, 20 years old, at the hands of police, unarmed, and outstanding warrant is what the police say happened. So the officer who murdered Daunte Wright has been identified, and she's identified. Kimberly A. Potter, seen here, was identified on Monday. Police officer who fired the shot that killed the 20-year-old man on Sunday. In Brooklyn Center, she is a 26-year veteran of the force, so she should have known better, right? You can't go with that rookie mistake crap. 26-year veteran of the force, a senior officer of the force. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal BCA apprehension said last night. So the BCA said that Kimberly A. Potter is on standard administrative leave. She's 48 years old and was first licensed as a police officer back in 1995 when Clinton was president. She was 22 years old at the time, older than the man she murdered, Daunte Wright. How ironic is that? So among her duties during her tenure with the Brooklyn Center Police Department, she has been serving on the force's negotiation team, right? One of the negotiators. How ironic. How ironic. So this is the officer, right? And like I said, she's on a standard administrative leave. That is usually what they do when some unarmed black person's killed. Just put them on standard administrative leave, still getting paid. It's all good, right? That's how they look at it. So in a previous fatal shooting of a man in Minneapolis suburb in August of 2019, Potter was among the first to arrive at the scene, where Kobe Demock Hessler died after he allegedly rushed at an officer with a knife inside of a home. There is a pattern that you see with the police in this country. There is a pattern, and it's not a pattern that is foreign to anybody. You're used to seeing it. This is the young man, Daunte Wright, that was killed on Sunday by Potter. Potter instructed the two officers involved to exit the residence. This is in the previous fatal shooting. Get into separate squad cars, turn off their body-worn cameras, and not to talk to each other. That's what she did. That's letting you know her character. According to an investigation report, the Hennepin County attorney's office, both officers' actions were found to be justified, and of course, no charges were filed. So when you hear that investigative reporting, when you hear that, you know the character of this officer. who's on administrative leave. She is married, has 2 adult sons, and lives with her husband, a former officer in a different Minneapolis suburb. So she knows how to and has demonstrated how to be sneaky, how to lie with regards to wrongdoing from police officers and suspected criminal conduct. So, of course, she's going to be able to do that for herself. Of course. Take a good look at her. Messages were left for Potter and her family, but of course have not been returned. Criminal defense lawyer Earl Gray will be handling her case. Potter has been a union president for her department's officers and was a longtime member of the Law Enforcement Memorial Association, where she served on the casket team. So Brian Peters, head of the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association, said that Potter was working Sunday as a field training officer, training a new officer, training that officer how to kill an unarmed black man. That's what she did. That's what she did. She was there to train another officer on how to kill an unarmed black man, because that's what they do over there. That's what they do in this country. Kashira Moore, thank you for your voice. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That is comment on YouTube. And so we are consistently seeing this. The trauma that is inflicted. When we talk about the case that happened over the weekend, the second lieutenant, the trauma that has been inflicted, this lieutenant who was in his uniform, scared of the police, scared to stop in a dark area because, cameras, it wasn't lit enough. Like, there was so many different things. And then when he gets in the light, the reason that he was pulled over wasn't even valid. These are the officers that we are dealing with in this country. They are hiring the wrong people, and the system is set up to protect their wrongdoing. All this needs to change. And so when you hear people talk about defund the police, that is a blanket statement that they use for many things with regards to reform. But as I frequently say, Republicans, so-called conservatives, commentators on the right, they act like everything's fine. Oh, yeah, black people killed. Oh, I mean, what else is new? Oh, they must have done something wrong. Okay, this kid had an outstanding warrant. Does that mean that he should have been killed? No, absolutely not. How would Potter have reacted if one of her sons had been in that situation? Had been killed by the negligence or either the sheer incompetence, right? Or she's a murderer. Either way, she doesn't need to be a police officer. Either way, she murdered this boy. Murdered him. 10 miles away from where George Floyd was killed, and the ex-officer on trial right now. Talk about timing. Talk about irony. Talk about all of this stuff. And some people have the nerve to sit back and act like everything's all good. Like this is normal stuff. How long can you continue to push black people? How long do you think, America, how long do you think that this facade, how long do you think that this fiasco is just going to be allowed to just continue the way it's been? How long? You're on the clock right now, I'm telling you. Some laws need to be changed. Some laws definitely need to be changed. So, of course, the police are lining up to defend this murdering police officer. I can't even call her a former police officer because she's on administrative leave. They claim that she's a very dedicated, passionate, and a good person. but she's also an incompetent, idiotic murderer. So, but they're putting out this. She's a good person. If somebody says that R. Kelly's a good person, oh yeah, people go crazy on him. But you can call this murderer a good person. R. Kelly hasn't killed anybody from my understanding. Yes, he's done some crappy things and he's in jail. But a lot of people are not lining up to call him a good person. But these officers are lining up to call this piece of trash, Potter, a good person. Yeah. And so I definitely think that people need to redefine what they call a good person. Kashir, I hope I'm saying your name right. Moore says that, and let's pull that up for me. Says that I am in Arkansas. All right, shout out to you. I got a traffic stop in the dark, in a dark lit area, and I didn't pull over even with his lights flashing until I got to an area I felt safe. Out here in the streets, he said I was evading. Wow. So what was the result? What was the result of that? Did they take you into custody? Like, tell me some more information about that. I am curious to hear that. And so, people have different types of encounters with the police, but you have to understand. I mean, the right people. The person who is an officer, person who has been trusted with reacting to all types of situations, has to be someone with with a first of all, they have to be competent. They have to know their taser from the gun. You gotta know the handcuffs from the paper that you write a ticket with. You got to know what's what. That's bare minimum. I thought this was obvious, right? So we're not only dealing with the racism, we're not only dealing with the blue shield, the code of silence, we're also dealing with incompetent officers of the so-called law. I mean, how much more can people deal with, right? How much more can we deal with? We have all of these things stacked up against us. So, Kimberly A. Potter, if you're just tuning in, is the officer who's been identified as the killer of Daunte Wright. She has lawyered up. She has been placed on leave, administrative leave. And if you're not aware of the story, if you're not aware of what happened, this young man here on Sunday was stopped by officers for a traffic violation. Upon their investigation, they learned that he had an outstanding warrant for his arrest. He's 20 years old, right? And the 20-year-old attempted reportedly to re-enter his vehicle, getting behind the wheel of the car, the steering wheel of the car. It prompted this officer. It prompted this officer to fire her weapon, which struck Wright, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. She claimed that she meant to fire her taser. So immediately they did not release her name or the names of the officers involved. The American Civil Liberties Union of Minnesota called for the officers' names to be made public. And on Monday, the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions, announced Potter was the officer who shot Wright. She's a 26-year veteran. 26-year veteran who does not know her taser from her gun. And they have this lady training folks. They have this lady training officers. How crazy is that? So along with the release of the officer's name, the ACLU of Minnesota called for the police department to release the body camera footage from the incident. And in the statement, they said that they believe that the body camera and dash camera were turned on. And that is true. So in the video, she yelled, "Taser, taser, taser," multiple times as Wright climbed back into his vehicle. She yelled that over 3 times, or at least 3 times, taser, right? And then after firing the shot that killed 20-year-old Wright, she says, "Oh, blank, I just shot him." Oh, that sounds like a 20-year veteran, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound like a 20-year veteran? She sounds like a incompetent rookie. And this person, this is who they have training people. So you wonder why the officers are so confused. You wonder why the officers are so scared. Because bring up the photo. Because they don't know the difference between a taser and a gun. So if you don't know the difference between a taser and a gun, that means to me you don't know the difference between a law-abiding citizen and a criminal. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. You don't need to be a police officer. 26-year veteran. But here's the thing. She knows the difference. She was lying. Because you can't be a 26-year veteran. She got licensed as an officer when she was 22 years old, older than the person she murdered on Sunday. You can't be a 26-year veteran and not know the difference between a taser and a gun. Bring it up again. You can't be a 26-year veteran without knowing the difference between a taser and a gun. So we know she's lying, right? We know that she's lying. And we know that the police are covering up for her. We know that. We know that. I mean, that's clear and that's obvious. It's clear and it's obvious. But that's what it is. That's what we're dealing with. And even the untrained person knows the difference between a taser and a gun. All right. But anyway, based on what he saw in the video, the Brooklyn Center police chief told reporters with a straight face that he believed that the case was an accidental discharge. Okay, I don't believe that crap. And I'm sure that, some of you may believe that. Some of you may believe that. And let me say this. I live next door to a police officer. He's a good guy, right? I like police officers that are honest, right? I do. Everybody ain't honest. Everybody ain't on the up and up. I mean, you got cooks, they ain't on the up and up. I like cooks. I like to eat. So just because I don't like the crap that is happening doesn't mean that I don't like police officers. Doesn't mean any of that. But there is clearly no way anybody can deny that the system is set up to protect police officers that do wrong. Clearly. And clearly we have a problem, and we've had a problem since the inception of police in this country. And like everything, it's time to update, right? You know how your phone not working right or your computer's not working right till you get that update? It's time for an update of the laws that govern this land and govern the actions of police. Now, I know many people don't want to hear that. I know many people are uncomfortable with that. Many people are, right? But those are just facts. Those are just facts. So let's go back to this police chief. So the police chief, Tim Gannon, told the reporters that he believed that it was an accidental discharge. Believe that as an accidental discharge. That don't even sound right, right? I didn't mean to get the girl pregnant. It was an accidental discharge. I didn't mean to like anytime you say accidental discharge, it doesn't sound right. It sounds like a lie. So he says this. This is the Brooklyn Center police chief, Tim Gannon. He says, "It is my belief that the officer had the intention to employ their taser, but instead shot Mr. Wright with a single bullet." Okay, let's pretend for a minute that he's telling the truth. Let's pretend for a minute that it was an accident, right? Let's pretend. Hear me out for a second. Let's pretend that it was an accident. That doesn't change the facts. That doesn't change the fact that A, he's dead, and B, he's dead at the hand of an officer, and he shouldn't have been killed. So you mean to tell me that you, as an officer, can say, I didn't mean to shoot him, I just meant to shock him. He's dead, my bad, and just keep it moving? No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in life. It doesn't work like that. I gave the example earlier today that if I'm in my car and someone walks in the street in the crosswalk and I hit the gas, run them over and kill them, and then say, oh, I mistook the gas for the brakes. I meant to hit the brakes, but I hit the gas and killed them. My bad. And then I yelled, brakes, brakes, but I hit the gas. That makes it all good. No. But that's what the Brooklyn Center police chief. So you got the police chief up there carrying water for one of his subordinates. How do you know it was an accidental discharge, right? You've done no investigation, but you have this clown, the Brooklyn Center police chief, Tim Gannon. You have this clown going out already carrying water. What investigation have you done? You've done zero investigation. It just happened. So he's already made his pronouncement that it was an accident. That this 26-year veteran of the police force made this type of an error. This type of an error is catastrophic. This makes your police department look exactly like it is. Incompetent. So anyway, Wright reportedly told his mother, Katie, on the phone that he was being pulled over. All right. Told his mother that he was being pulled over because of air fresheners that she had hanging from his window. She said she heard the officer ask him to get out of the vehicle and that he would explain why but she heard the officer ask him to get out of the car and that he would explain why after the 20-year-old exited the vehicle. So then she said she heard a scuffle. She said she heard someone yell, "Daunte, don't run." When she called back a few minutes later, she said his girlfriend, who was reportedly in the car at the time, said the 20-year-old had been shot. 20-year-old had been shot. Officers tried life-saving measures, but he was pronounced dead on the scene. Can you imagine what the mother of this young man is going through right now? Can you imagine? So the ACLU of Minnesota has deep concerns that police here have used dangling air fresheners as an excuse to make pretextual stops. Something the police do all the time. It happens all the time. air freshener hanging from the window. And they use this to target black people. So you have all these officers for this traffic stop. And this situation with young Daunte Wright is made even worse because his death comes at this very delicate time. This very delicate time when the jury is hearing a case against a former Minneapolis police officer for what? For what? For murder. For murder. 10 miles away. 10 miles separating where George Floyd and Daunte Wright took their last breaths. How ironic is that? This is not normal. This is definitely not normal. Just tuning in, Diamond K in the morning on the all new radioonfire.com. New episodes of the program drop weekdays, 8 a.m., but I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcasts. In addition to the 8 a.m. show, we drop content throughout the day as news happens, just like we're doing right now. This is going to be a story that is going to be talked about for quite some time. There has to be a real accounting and a reckoning. I feel it. I feel it in the air. Something's going on. Things people have to see. It's bubbling to the surface. There's no denying it now. You know, white people, if you are looking at this and you're still in denial, you just don't want to see it. You just don't want to see it. Diamond K in the morning is available on the WRF radio app. Simply download WRF radio from your app store. Leave me a comment. Also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Audible, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast, just search Diamond K in the morning. You can scroll your timeline, attend a Zoom meeting on mute, do some online shopping while listening to Diamond K in the morning. Get breaking news, adult conversation, covering topics that are important to the Black culture. Visit radioonfire.com for our original radio podcast and TV broadcast. You can also support the program. Diamond K in the morning is powered by the people. We definitely need your support. You can visit radioonfire.com. Or you can do that via Cash App, $ DJ Diamond K, PayPal.me/RadioOnFire, or contact me, djdiamondk@gmail.com. So I'm going to be back tomorrow morning. I have always supported entrepreneurship and independent businesses. Here in the program for the rest of the year, we're going to be spotlighting businesses here on the show and on the site, also on our other programs. So if you have a business, if you know someone that has a business, an independent business, you can definitely contact us via Instagram. DM me at the Diamond K Show or at Radio on Fire. We're trying to spotlight businesses. It doesn't have to be your business. It can be a business of someone that you know. We want to highlight and spotlight businesses. So definitely send us some information. You can DM me the Instagram page of the business that you're trying to bring to our attention. And we definitely want to highlight businesses. That is very important to me. With this pandemic, it's really changed the landscape. People have to be able to pivot and change with the times. So definitely, as I said, businesses at the Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire, we really want to highlight and spotlight these businesses. So I'm going to be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., radioonfire.com, or wherever you get your podcast.